back to another online lesson. If you remember from last time, we were discussing how the United States went about winning the war. Today, we're going to be talking about the end of war, creating ways to promote peace throughout the world, and hold individuals accountable for their actions during World War II. We're going to be looking at the creation of the new United Nations, the Nuremberg Trials, and that's really going to kind of wrap up the end of the war. Next lesson will be on the Holocaust, but this one's going to be a very short and sweet lesson. So, end of the war, we're looking at soldiers coming back, sailors coming back. This is a very famous picture of a sailor coming back. Usually you see this if you look at the end of the war, World War II, sailors coming home, that first kiss of the person they've missed so much. And as these soldiers are coming home, nations are looking to find ways to prevent this from happening again and to hold individuals and people accountable. So let's start looking at that. First, creating the United Nations. In 1944, delegates from 39 countries met in Washington, D.C. to discuss the new United Nations. They created a General Assembly and a Security Council. And creating the United Nations, on April 25th, 1945, representatives from 50 countries came to San Francisco, California, to organize the United Nations and set up its charter. The General Assembly and Security Council were assigned their duties. The job of the United Nations is a peacekeeping organization of countries around the world. And you've probably heard of the UN, especially when we were talking about Libya last year, and other efforts where countries have gotten involved in smaller conflicts in order to promote peace. And while this is going on, the Nuremberg Trials start, and they're held in Nuremberg, hence the name. And this is where they would put the enemy on trial. After World War II, dozens of Nazi leaders were placed on trial for their actions during the Holocaust. Again, that was the systematic extermination of the Jewish people of Europe, along with other groups as well. 24 are found guilty. 24. Punishments range from jail sentences to death by hanging. And it established that people are accountable for their actions. And one of the famous quotes by Robert Jackson, Chief Counsel for the United States, was, "The wrongs we seek to condemn and punish have been so calculated, so malignant, and so devastating that civilization cannot tolerate their being ignored, because it cannot survive their being repeated." And what that quote is saying is that we're putting them on trial because what they did was so horrible that it needs to be addressed. It cannot be ignored. And these individuals, some of them actually were finding ways to try to get out of it. Most of them were found guilty and either lifetime in jail or death by hanging. Again, these was for their crimes during the Holocaust, which was going on at the same time as the extent of World War II. So today we've looked at, again, very simple, the United Nations, the Nuremberg Trials, and hopefully you have a question from this online lesson. All right, that wraps it up. This was a very short lesson, I know. Next time, we will come back and we'll be finishing up the World War II unit with an online lesson about the Holocaust. I know most of you are really interested in talking about it in class, so we'll start with that online lesson and we'll take that discussion into the room. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.